What's up, guys? It's Stephen Bogren here from Pro Physique. Today, what I want to talk about is stop changing everything all the time. Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. As you can see, this might be one of my pet peeve videos. Not sure if you can tell, the house continues to get broken down. We are T-minus 2 weeks to the move. So excited about that. And excited about possibly getting back on that podcast again here soon. I don't know if y'all know about that. So those of you who have been messaging me, asking me about podcasts, Steven, are you gonna be on more podcasts? Probably yes. Yes, the answer is yes. So, well, let's talk about this one because this was a good one that came up. Oh yeah, I need a haircut too. Oof, it's looking rough. It's looking rough, y'all. I need to get rid of this neck beard. I fucking know. As you can tell, moving, it's a big thing. So anyways, was talking to one of my colleagues today, and they were talking to me about, some issues they've been having and kind of how to deal with them. And, sometimes the best thing we can do is to allow, people to do their thing, right? Some people, they just want you to tell them what they want to hear. And whereas I'm not a huge proponent of that, sometimes you gotta learn the hard way, and you gotta go through some stuff before you learn it. But a lot can be said for consistency. It is the basis of everything that I do. It's consistency, right? If we don't have consistent numbers, it's hard to make changes. If we're not consistent in our diet beforehand, we're just throwing, it's like, there's something on that wall, did I hit it? Maybe, right? So consistency is really the big thing. And I know that a lot of us out there, we're looking for quick results. We want to see shit moving the correct way. We want to do it, and we want to make it work. Because for real, like, that's what we're told it's supposed to be, right? Like, we get fed quick results, like lose 10 pounds in 10 days, this, that, and the other thing, and it's fucking everywhere. Fucking everywhere, right? It's not right there, but it's a lot of places, okay? So, like, we have to understand that we're being fed a whole bunch of bullshit. A lot. And it's hard because for a lot of us, we get entrenched in this idea that that's how it should be. That's what we need to have happen. And if that's not happening, we're doing something wrong. Well, maybe sometimes, yeah, maybe we need to utilize a different approach. Maybe sometimes we do need to change something to better suit you. Like maybe we've decided or we found out that we don't process the food very well. Or, maybe we have a certain disorder or something is going on and we need to make changes with that, right? Great. Awesome. So once in a while, yes, it can be, but if we are consistently changing, we don't get to make progress. I think the hard part that a lot of us have is we're used to things quick, right? Like, dude, if I have to wait 5 days or 6 days for something to get shipped, I'm pissed off about it, right? I'm like, this is stupid. I wanted it yesterday, right? Like, but we do the same thing with fat loss. We do the same thing with all these really big life goals that we have. We're like, why isn't it happening? Why isn't it done? Why am I not where I want to be yet, And we fail to realize that a lot of people have put years and years of hard work into some of these things that, we're trying to achieve. So first and foremost, it's really important that we understand that if we're consistently changing variables, we rob ourselves of consistency. If we rob ourselves of consistency, it makes it very, very hard to detect change, right? What is it that's making the change? Is it a crazy change in calories? Is it food choices? Is it stress? Is it sleep? Is it sodium retention? There's so many different things. So we want to treat our diets the same way we would treat research, right? Now this is going to be a hard one, I think, for a lot of us to get. Because when we're at research, we're doing research, right? Everything is very, very well controlled. So the more control we have, the more we know what change is creating or facilitating a change in our body, right? If we're consistently changing around, the type of dieting strategy, high carb, low carb, keto, whatever it might be, right? Flexible dieting, meal plan, like that can make things really hard to detect change. What is it specifically that's creating the change that we want, or not creating the change that we want, right? It's very important that when we choose to do something, we give it its due in terms of trying to stick to it and really giving it a chance to make a change for us, right? For some of us, we're not in a good place to diet in the first place, right? If we're used to chronically under eating, if we're used to doing a chronic high cardio load, you might not get a result on many things. Maybe keto was the one thing you saw a result on, right? Well, that could simply be because we dropped glycogen stores. We lost water weight, right? Then when we came off keto, same thing, right? But if we were going to be consistent on keto, we would see that it would poop out, right? It would do the same thing. Like we might lose water weight at first, but after a certain amount of time, we're gonna just not have that same response. So in the end, it wouldn't be different than carbs, you know, maybe a low carb or a moderate carb approach. But we don't see that if we're not giving it its due diligence, right? So what I would recommend that you do, dieting wise, give whatever approach that you're going to take its due diligence. Give it some time. Give it 5-6 weeks, you know? Make sure that if you're not seeing change, you're not seeing change, that it stays. Sometimes it's about patience, right? If we added in some HIIT cardio, we added inflammation. If we trained up training a little bit, we added in some inflammation, right? Maybe we need a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks at a time sometimes, to see that scale dropping. Sometimes that's what it takes. Maybe we need to look at stress management. Maybe it's sleep. Maybe it's recovery. Maybe it's, you know, our micronutrient intake is so poor that it's creating issues, right? Could be a slew of things, but without consistency, without consistently doing the same thing, it's hard to tell. We have to be consistent, make small changes, see what works and see what doesn't work. We want to treat our diet the same way we would treat scientific research, okay? Training's the same thing, man. We can't, man, woman, person, gotta make sure I'm politically correct here. Y'all know I love this. So anyways, training's the same way, dude. Training is the same way. We gotta make sure that we're consistent with our training. If we're trying to switch up our training schedule every couple weeks and completely revamp it and redo it and pick new movements, it makes it really hard to progress things, right? Remember, fat loss, think of it as an adaptation. Metabolism recovery, think of it as an adaptation. Building muscle, it's an adaptation. Adapting to stimulus takes time. If we don't give it its due time, we don't get that adaptation. What we do is we end up just burning ourselves out because we're going from one thing to another, to another, to another, and we're not seeing the results that we want. Guys, gals, peeps, person, bodybuilding, physique sports, it's a war of attrition. It's time invested, it's lifestyle, it's a lot of work, right? I wish that I could tell you it was fucking easy. It's not, especially if you have average genetics. I have kind of average genetics. I have to work super hard. I have to be very consistent with what I do. You know, it's not the easiest thing in the world. So it absolutely has to start with this foundation of consistency. When you have the consistency, then you can start making changes. Not only just in your, in your diet, but in your training as well, right? Then we can start making changes as we're starting to see things in the bigger picture, right? But if we're continually stuck in the minutia, making changes, switching approaches all the time, it robs us of our ability to make objective changes. And making objective changes is how we get better, right? We see what's working, what's not working, how is it working, how is it not working, and then making changes based on that. So we want to make sure that we give ourselves the opportunity to be objective with ourselves, to give ourselves the best opportunity to progress and to get better. And the way to do that is to take an approach, give it its due diligence, give it the time that is necessary for it to work, and then make changes when appropriate, right? If and when appropriate. That's it, guys. Stop making all the changes. You cannot expect to make progress with anything if you're continually jumping all over the board, right? So pick something, stick with it, utilize the approach, give it time, and that's how we make progress. So that's it, guys. I'm gonna shut my mouth now. Till next time.